My name is Kay, and I'm an industrial mechanic. What I'm going to tell you today is the story of my wife Sarah and me. We met romantically at a friend's party and fell in love at first sight. Sarah had a bright smile and was so beautiful that I was attracted to her. We soon established a relationship, dated, moved in together, and eventually entered into marriage. In the early days of our marriage, our life was full of sweetness. Despite our busy schedules, we always found time to go on a date, watch a movie, or take a walk in the park. Sarah was a good listener and always gave me support and encouragement when I encountered problems at work. Together, we decorated and furnished our small apartment, making it a cozy place to live. Sarah loves flower arrangement, and the house is always filled with the fragrance of flowers. We plan for the future together and look forward to the arrival of our child. Everything is so beautiful. However, the good times were short-lived. As time passed, Sarah began to work overtime more often and often came home late at night. Sometimes she had to work overtime on weekends, and we spent less and less time together. At first, I thought she was just busy at work, but gradually I realized that her dress code was becoming more and more fashionable and sexy. In the past, Sarah used to like to dress simply, with a shirt and jeans and little makeup. But now, she started to wear some tight tops and shorter skirts. On a few occasions, I found her wearing low-cut dresses that showed off her curves, which was a far cry from her old demure and conservative style. Her makeup had also changed from light and natural to colorful and exaggerated, as if she was a different person. I remember one time, I saw a few expensive, sexy dresses in the closet, and when I asked about them, Sarah just smiled and said that they were given to her by a colleague who didn't want them. Another time, I noticed that her bag had changed into an expensive luxury brand, which was very inconsistent with her usual style. When I asked her where the bag came from, she was a bit evasive and said she borrowed it from a colleague for a few days. These changes in Sarah's behavior made me feel uneasy. She no longer shared her work-related matters with me after work as she used to do, and she was always perfunctory to my questions. The communication between us is getting less and less, and I feel that the distance between us is slowly widening. We used to enjoy walking and talking after dinner, but now Sarah always said she was too tired to go home and stay in the bedroom. We used to talk about everything, but now we're like two strangers living under the same roof. I tried to communicate with Sarah, asking her if she had any problems lately, but every time I raised the issue, Sarah always said impatiently that I was thinking too much and that everything was fine. Once I got up the courage to ask her if she was unhappy with our marriage, but Sarah angrily said I was being unreasonable, turned around and walked into the bedroom, slamming the door. I stood in front of the closed door. My heart felt like being cut by a knife-like pain. We used to be so close, but now we are like two closed doors, no longer able to open each other's hearts. I don't understand how our relationship and life could have turned out like this. Sarah has changed so much that I even started to wonder if I really know her. Is the simple and pure girl that I loved so much still there? Instead, she is a woman who is vain and cold to her husband. I wanted to save our marriage and repair our relationship, but Sarah's attitude made me feel powerless. I tried to convince myself that I was probably overthinking things, that Sarah had been a loyal and faithful wife, that we loved each other, and that she wouldn't betray our relationship. But the uneasiness in my heart grew like a weed and wouldn't go away. I began to become sensitive and paranoid. Every day I guessed Sarah's whereabouts, but did not dare to confront her directly for fear of hurting our hard-earned marriage and family. I know that trust is the cornerstone of a marriage, and once it is lost, cracks will appear. As the changes in Sarah became more and more apparent, my inner turmoil grew. I began to pay attention to her daily behavior, hoping to find answers. One night, Sarah said she had to work late, but on my way home, I saw her car parked in front of a fancy restaurant. Through the window, I saw her and a man inside chatting happily, making eyes at each other and behaving intimately. I couldn't believe my eyes. Sarah had lied to me. It kept me up at night. The next morning, Sarah left her cell phone on the dining room table when she went to the bathroom. This was an unprecedented situation. Sarah was always very private and never left her cell phone unattended. After hesitating for a while, I couldn't help but pick up her cell phone. Entering her birthday as the password, the screen unlocked. Her birthday, the first secret she told me after we got together. Looking through her message logs, I saw a lot of suspicious content. Sarah had a lot of text and voice calls with a man named Mark. I clicked on some of them at random, and the contents made my jaw drop. I had a great time last night. I'll see you next time. Okay? I made a reservation at your favorite fancy restaurant. That red dress you wore today was so sexy, I couldn't take my eyes off it. Can you wear it for me some other time? I miss you. I want to see you now. Come to my house. My wife is not at home tonight. Sarah's reply was also full of ambiguity. I miss you too. See you tonight. I bought this especially for you. Do you like it? I'll wear it some other time. My husband is always working overtime lately. I'll come to you when he's not home. Looking at these explicit words, I felt a wave of nausea, and they even made fun of me, mocking my trust. In addition to the text messages, I've seen tons of intimate photos. Some were in restaurants, some in hotels, and some in Mark's house. In the photos, Sarah was dressed in revealing clothes, sitting on Mark's lap, or being held in Mark's arms. Each photo announced the failure of my marriage, and each one was like a knife stabbing into my heart. I shakily put the phone back to its original place, my legs barely able to support it. Sarah walked out of the restroom and greeted me as if nothing had happened. I could barely pull out a smile, but my heart was already full of holes. I didn't want to believe that Sarah had really betrayed me, but with the evidence right in front of me, I had to accept this cruel fact. I was on the verge of collapse, not knowing how to face all this. Over the next few days, I pretended to be working late, but in reality, I was secretly investigating Sarah's whereabouts. I followed her after-work trips and saw that she met Mark frequently. Once, they got a room in a 5-star hotel and stayed there from 7 p.m. until 2 a.m. Another time, I followed them to Mark's villa, where Sarah spent the night and came home the next morning. I took photos and videos of their rendezvous and collected hotel and restaurant records. These records showed that Mark often bought Sarah expensive gifts, designer bags, high-end accessories, and even gave her a supplementary credit card. I finally decided to hire a private investigator, David, who is an expert in this field, to help me further investigate and collect evidence, and with my authorization, he accessed Sarah and Mark's phone records and location records. The data shows that over the past 6 months, they have been seeing each other an average of 3 times a week, each time for more than 2 hours. The call logs revealed a lot of late-night calls and video chats, sometimes even in our bedroom, while I was asleep. The thought of this sent a chill down my spine. David's final investigative report detailed Sarah and Mark's unfaithful relationship. According to the report, Mark was an executive in Sarah's company, handsome and wealthy. With his encouragement, Sarah began to change gradually, dressing more and more luxuriously and treating me more and more coldly. The photos and audio recordings attached to the report irrefutably confirmed Sarah's infidelity. On the photos, Sarah was dressed in revealing clothes and kissed with Mark in the hotel corridor. On the recording, it was the sound of their flirting and lovemaking in the room. The evidence was overwhelming, the facts were clear, and I could no longer lie to myself and forgive Sarah for her betrayal. After reading this report, I felt that the sky was spinning and all my organs were burning. I took these cheating evidence. My mind is blank. I do not understand why we were so in love. Sarah chose to betray the marriage, chose to cheat me. I gave my whole heart to this marriage, but in the end, I got such a result. Anger, sadness, unwillingness, despair. All kinds of emotions are intertwined together. Let me almost suffocate. I knew that I had to face the cruel reality that my marriage with Sarah had come to an end. But how was I supposed to say it? How could I face the truth that was killing me? I didn't sleep a wink, and the intimate photos and explicit recordings kept repeating in my mind, each one like a knife stabbing into my heart. I knew that I had to take action, that I couldn't live a lie anymore. The poisoned arrow of betrayal had been shot into my heart, and I had to pull it out, even if it bled and hurt. With the hard evidence that Sarah was cheating on me, my anger and disappointment reached a peak. I asked Sarah to talk to me at home, determined to get an answer. When Sarah stepped into the door of the house, I was sitting on the sofa, David's investigation report, and all kinds of evidence of cheating spread out on the table. Seeing this scene, Sarah's face instantly pale, but soon she regained her composure. and her expression is even a little angry. Kay, what do you mean by that? How can you just go through my things? How can you doubt me? We are husband and wife. Don't you trust me? Sarah questioned me in a harsh voice, without any sense of guilt. I laughed coldly and threw a picture in front of her. Trust? Sarah, this is how you trust me? You cheated on me with another man. You lied to me. You treated our marriage like a child's play. You betrayed our relationship. And now you have the nerve to talk about trust? In the face of ironclad evidence, Sarah still tried to argue. Those photos are all synthesized, and those records are all forged. How could I do such a thing? Kay, you can't believe these rumors. You have to believe me. I have long expected Sarah will be so sly. I coldly opened the tape recorder, Sarah and Mark's intimate conversation, the explicit unpleasant to the ear. Sarah's face instantly pale. She realized that this is all true, cannot be denied. Sarah paralyzed on the ground bawling, begging me for forgiveness. Kay, I know I was wrong. Mark seduced me. I really do not mean to hurt you. You have to believe me, my feelings for you are true. We still have a chance. I can, and Mark cut off contact. I swear I will not do it again. Hearing Sarah's defense, I just feel ridiculous. In this marriage, I gave all my heart and effort, but Sarah chose to repay me with lies and betrayal. She claimed to love me, but behind the scenes she was hanging out with other men, even joking about our relationship. How can I believe and forgive such a false love and unfaithful wife? I said to Sarah, that's enough. Don't say any more. This relationship and marriage has been ruined by your own hands. You've let me down so much that I can't trust you anymore. I want to divorce you. I want to end this false marriage. When she heard the word divorce, Sarah was shocked. She threw her arms around my legs and screamed hysterically, No, Kay, you can't divorce me. I love you with all my heart. I can't live without you. Please give me another chance. Don't abandon me. I forced myself to hold back the pain in my heart and pushed Sarah away. I knew that it would be a real mistake to forgive her. Sarah had betrayed our marriage, hurt my dignity and feelings. I could no longer tolerate the deception. I had to make a choice for myself. In the following days, I consulted my lawyer friend Julia, and with her help, I started to prepare for the divorce proceedings. Julia explained in detail the various legal issues in the divorce process and helped me draft the divorce agreement. With solid evidence of infidelity, I basically won the divorce lawsuit. Sarah saw this. Her attitude began to become uncertain. She begged me to remarry, and then made things difficult for me in the agreement, wanting to take away more property. Our divorce case went on for more than 3 months. During the trial, Sarah tried her best to deny cheating and discredit me to gain the judge's sympathy, but her defense was crushed like a paper castle in the face of overwhelming evidence. But in front of the solid evidence, her defense was like a paper castle, easily crushed. Sarah not only lost the case, but also lost face. The evidence I submitted was accepted by the court and became public legal documents, and Sarah's infidelity became a laughingstock among her friends, family, and co-workers, leaving her reputation in tatters. In the end, the court granted us a divorce, and I was awarded 60% of the joint property, including our house and car, while Sarah was left with nothing but her personal belongings. After the divorce, Sarah couldn't bear the social criticism, was ashamed of her parents, was fired from her company, and finally left the city. Although I won the divorce case, I didn't feel any pleasure in my heart. We used to love each other so much and vowed to be together for a lifetime, but we ended up in court. This scarred marriage has made me taste the bitterness of love, so that I no longer believe in good promises. After the divorce, my world changed completely. I moved out of my old house and into a small apartment. When I came back to the empty room after work every day, without Sarah's smiling face and the gossip between husband and wife, I felt lonely and lost like never before. I began to re-examine my life and think about what to do in the future. For the first month, I buried myself in my work, trying to paralyze myself with busyness. But when I dreamt in the middle of the night, the torment of insomnia and loneliness made me sleepless. I began to drink to drown my sorrows, but the anesthesia brought by alcohol was only short-lived, and the reality was still cruel when I woke up. My health deteriorated. My weight plummeted 15 pounds, and I became depressed. By chance, I saw a martial arts school on the street enrolling students. Out of curiosity, I went in to inquire. The coach is an experienced teacher. He told me that learning martial arts can not only strengthen the body, but also cultivate the mind. Holding the mindset of trying, I enrolled in the sparring class. At first, the high intensity of the training was too much for me. I felt exhausted and sore after every training session. But gradually, I realized that my tired body emptied my mind. The painful training made me forget about my marital pain for a while and focus on what was right in front of me. Slowly, I felt stronger and more cheerful. Through half a year's study, I have mastered the basic stances of Sanda, but also made a lot of like-minded friends. We often go for a drink and chat after training. We all had our own stories and sorrows, but we were all trying to live our lives. One time, a senior said to me, "Kay, no matter how hard things get, you have to go on living. Instead of dwelling on the past, we should work hard in the present." His words struck a chord with me. In addition to studying martial arts, I also renewed my interest in reading. I bought a lot of inspirational books and studied psychological writings, hoping to find a way to change myself. I started to meditate as a way to calm my heart. Life is still not easy, but I feel that I am getting better. A year after my divorce, my life is getting back on track. Although I still think of Sarah once in a while, and I still feel sad because of the pain of the past, I have learned to live with it. I am no longer the fragile and helpless Kay. I am stronger and more independent than ever. I started to try new social activities, joined some interest groups, and met a lot of interesting friends. I also signed up for a counseling class organized by my company to learn how to control my emotions and how to get along with others. Now, 2 years later, my life is completely different. I got a promotion and a raise and became the head of the company's business. I moved into a new apartment and furnished it in my favorite style. My body is healthy and my mind is at peace. Although I still feel lonely occasionally, I have learned to enjoy solitude and self-satisfaction. The shadow of divorce is behind me, and a new life beckons. I share this story in the hope that it will give some inspiration to those who are experiencing difficulties in their marriages. On the road of life, we will inevitably encounter thorns and bumps, we'll encounter betrayal and hurt. But as long as we don't give up on ourselves and face the difficulties bravely, we will be able to get out of the darkness and usher in a new life. As long as we are willing to work hard, life will certainly change for the better. Thank you for taking the time to listen to today's story. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe if you haven't already. If you have a story to share about your own or someone else's experience, please feel free to contact me. Take care.